there, YouTube friends. Masked Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I always do appreciate it. And welcome to episode 40 of Conifer Slopes. And quite honestly, I think the final update video. It's been a long time. And I'm so excited to share with you, for all intent and purpose, the finished product of Conifer Slopes, a park that I had been... It's my ship in a bottle, they say. And it's been my ship in a bottle for the last 17 years-ish, which is probably longer than some of you viewers have even been alive, which is even weird to think about, so I'm not going to think about it too hard. Because there are things that need to be done in this episode that I'm excited to share with you as we watch Category 5 crest its hill. And oh, here comes a log. What are the chances? Boom, in it goes. Fantastic. I do have the reshade on all day today just because we're going to be looking at things that are done and all that. And so let's get right to it. Enough of the yammering on. If you're excited about Conifer Slopes wrapping up and you're excited about what that means for the channel as far as Planet Coaster 2, do hit the like button. Consider subscribing because we're not done. We're not done playing games. We're not done with Planet Coaster, especially not the sequel. But enough of that. Let's get into the episode. Here it is. This is Willowwisp Bog. I said I was going to clean things up and add some bits, and I realized I didn't want to go too much with the stuff. I wanted it to kind of stay open and feel like you were surrounded with the natures. Oh, this guy's going to have to go. Bye-bye, Mr. Archer. We are not going to keep you around. I do, though, think that this looks pretty okay. I didn't add very much. I just added a little bit of cover here, just as you're waiting for your boat. But all this is pretty shaded, surprisingly, with the foliage that we have in here. So I'm all right with that. And I do like that this really does feel like you're standing in the middle of a bog at this point, doesn't it? With all the water here, with the fountain and the mushrooms and the splashing of the boats and the moss-covered swamp trees and the gnarly bits. Yeah, it's spooky. It is spooky. We did some lighting, basic lighting here, more torch work. And then in here, we just did some custom, like, little arches here with some of the driftwood planks. Old piece, but a quality piece nonetheless. A real simple roof line. And yeah, it just enough. Just does what it needs to do. Threw some crates and some barrels around because when in doubt, that's what you add. And I covered up our control operator, our operator over here. Yeah, added some lanterns, and that's really about it for here. Didn't take much time. I thought this would take a lot longer than it did, but it came together relatively quickly. And then just made sure that everything was cleaned up on the up and up here. Our backstage, everything now is ready to go, and we've expanded the covers right to the backstage gate here. Added this little piece of wood to make sure that the transitions made sense and looked good. And yeah, so let's carry on into the Feywild area here, into the Morning Woods. And you can see that things have signs. The other big deal we needed to do in this area, aside from some cleanup, was to add some signs. And that brings us right here. We have The Hag's Gift, all sales final by Jam Jars. Thanks for the shout, Jam Jars. Loved your suggestion. So now this is officially The Hag's Gift. I do think I'm overusing this particular sign, but you know, like, what are you gonna do? Not gonna make custom signs for every single thing. We have another copy of the sign over here. Says the same thing, so that Jam Jars' contribution can be seen regardless of how you enter the shop. And that brings me to a couple other things that got named. I've been sitting on them for a while. We did go ahead and name this Cauldron's Brew Coffee, and that's by Commander Real War. Thanks for the name. And he also suggested, Commander Real War also suggested to call this Pixie Pizza Pie. And that's why it says a CRW, Commander Real War Corporation. And you can see here we cleaned up. There's some stuff back there. We're going to look at that in a little bit. But we have now the entire area. The one thing that I am kicking myself for, because there is literally no room left. I tried. There are no restrooms. There are no restrooms in this area. No designated restrooms in this area. So what I've done is I've cheated. and I've stuck a restroom into the tavern here. And you can see along with our vendors, we have some drinks and some candy vendors in the tavern just to get some people to walk in there. But yeah, oh, there's another archer. I'm gonna have to do an archer pass on this for sure. We're gonna make this archer go away too. Go away, Mr. Archer. We do not need you at all there. So yeah, that is my one thing. Is as I was building, I was like, oh, there's no bathrooms. And in fact, overall, there are not enough restrooms in Conifer Slopes. So that'd be the one thing that I'm going to be a little about. But at this point, there's not really a lot I can do. And it's just going to be one of those things. It's something that I know, and it will be improved in future projects. So there you go. And yeah, here is the entirety now of a completed Morning Woods. It's bigger than I thought. It's a little more fantastical than I thought, but I don't think I would change it for anything. It turned out really good, and again, if it weren't for Nerd Chacho and his amazing hag coaster, the invert here, if it weren't for that, I would not have been able to get this done. There was another YouTube comment back when Chacho was on the channel, and I think I made the mistake. I accidentally said, or it was an episode after, and I accidentally said Nacho instead of Chacho. And someone commented, and I don't remember who, that, oh, well, now you just need to have a Chacho's Nachos stand. And if you can't tell from the colors of this building here, that's exactly what we have. Let me introduce you to Chacho's Nachos. It's exactly what it needs to be. I figured that's one of his most common catchphrases. I wasn't going to put Chacho Toilets as the tagline for this store. So we have a lovely little nacho stand. I think it actually sells burritos. It's a Mexcalente, I think. And this custom sign, big shout to the TMTK item, made by Mineral, who is currently working on Steve Town. If you are not watching Steve Town, what is wrong with you? You need to watch it. He is incredible. He was a big part of Bro Coaster, and I know I've mentioned him on a previous video. Go watch Steve Town. He made the sign. He made the Chacho's Nachos sign, and he actually asked me when is mine going to be done so he can add a Chacho Nachos. So now it's officially a Bro Nation brand. It's got logos, and that's so exciting. So perhaps it's not currently publicly released, I don't think. Perhaps once Mineral has made his Chacho Nacho stand, he will release it to the public. I'm not sure. But we went ahead and I got the colors. These are actually the hex codes from Nerd Chacho. I did ask him for them. I told him he was getting something special and I needed his hex codes. So he sent them to me. So these are the colors in his logo. Hopefully he's a big fan. So yeah, we've got a little Chacho's Nacho stand. And that spun me off. That spun me up, got me excited, and I realized, well, look, if we're going to pay homage to Nerd Chacho, we have to pay homage to everyone that helped in Conifer Slopes. And so this area that I said was not, this main drag here that I said was not going to be redesigned, even though it looked old, I lied. I lied. I kept some of it, but not all of it. So if we walk down the street here, towards the entrance, actually, we have the Sparrow Sweet Shop, which is our nod and our little ode to Jaunty, who did a bunch of work with us, created an entire medieval land, also created the link between the Feywild and the medieval area, and has just been a huge inspiration and a really good friend of mine for quite a while now. So we have the Sparrow Sweet Shop, and same thing, I screenshotted his logo, his YouTube logo, and I got the hex codes off of that. So these are, again, his hex codes for his logo, so hopefully you're liking that. It's a simple little building. It's actually a retrofitted version of one of the buildings we already had, so that's pretty cool. I like the, it was a coffee shop, so I replaced it. I figured there's a couple other coffee shops in the park. This will be fine. So yeah, these two buildings are the same, the Hat's Fantastic and the Just So Memento, which is why I don't mind the trees blocking them. But now Frank's Red Hots, or Frank's Spot, whatever they were called, is no longer. We went ahead and we turned this into a Red Lines Red Hots. And again, I had to put him on the corner because if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have this amazing coaster or any of the area around it, nor would we have this amazing carousel. He was so helpful in making Conifer Slopes become a reality. So I actually took the hot dog stand from Summerdale And I've kind of reorganized it and rearranged it. So now we have Red Lines Red Hots, and over here we have Red Lines 2.0. Yes, they are bigger and bolder. So we've got that going for us. And that gave me an opportunity to swap out the fake picnic tables for real picnic tables and kind of redo the paths in this area. So now hopefully we'll actually see people sitting down and eating here. That would be really, really cool, because before that wasn't a thing that was going to happen. So yeah, this is now the newly refurbished corner lot, and you might be able to see some sneak peeks, but we're not going to look at those. We're going to turn all the way around, and I removed some of there was a Just a Memento, I think, here that was supposed to be part of Little Blues, but I went ahead and I removed it, and I made it Mineral Recording Studios, since Mineral made a lovely logo for us, and he's just been inspirational to me. And all the time I've known him, I went ahead and I made a little recording studio. This actually is inspired by something from my home park, Six Flags Great America. I'm pretty sure it's not there anymore. But in like the town square area, right by the train tracks, there was an area you could step into a recording studio and do like karaoke with your friends. And you could purchase the cassette of what you made. And they would blast your karaoke out into the paths so everyone could hear as they were walking by. Really good fun, really good fun. And this is actually this is based off of a club Six Flags or something. It was supposed to be like this upscale thing in a Six Flags park. I don't know. When I Googled recording studio Six Flags, it came up, and I was like, I'll just use this. And I used some of the really old music some of the instrument workshop pieces, and I think it turned out really cute. It's small, but I really like it, and it actually kind of goes along with the Conifer Railroad with its materials and stuff, and helps kind of tie this area together. I don't mind this area as a little hodgepodge anymore, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this Contributor Street, and I think it's really kind of fun to have everyone recognized in their own special way here on this street. So I also put a Mind Gluten Bakery, which I believe was a Mineral addition to No Name Landia, so I put it right near his building as well. Also swapped out the original logo of the Om Nom Bakery with one that was made specifically, I think, by Idro. I think Blue Avocado made the logos and Idro turned them into TMTK items, perhaps. But I figured since this was the first Om Nom, we should go ahead and update the logo, the signage. So I think it makes the building look a lot cleaner and a lot nicer just to have the big Om Nom here. I do still have the in-game pink donut behind it. I like that a lot. But other than that, this building is unchanged. Let's walk across the street here, and let's take a look at this next one. We have Nitro's energy drinks. And again, I used his logo for his YouTube channel. And I tried to think of what Nitro could be. I thought coffee, but we already just, like I said, I just removed a coffee store. I didn't want to put another one in. And so we went with energy drinks instead. A really modern vibe. I don't know, when I thought energy drinks, that's just kind of the image that popped into my head. Nice and clean and crisp, because his work is nice and clean and crisp. And of course, he built Conifer Downs, which we looked at a couple episodes ago. I really like this modern brickwork. I think it's really cool. Kind of looks like Subway, but anyway. Not much to say about it other than it looks a little, I don't know, it's clean. It's got, I like the strange roof, the uneven roof lines. Kind of gives it a unique shape, makes it look a little fancy, makes it look kind of sleek. Which I like a lot. So hopefully you think it's pretty cool, and hopefully Nitro, if you're watching, you enjoy it as well. So yeah, just a little nod to Nitro there. And then I do believe the last building to show off is Fisherman's, because how could we not have a park for something for fishermen? The man who made our dark ride. Oh my gosh, what an incredible ride that is. So we made a little fish and chips shop with his logo, his fish logo here. This also shows up in No Name Landia, and this is actually modeled after a real British fish and chips pub, I guess, or fish and chip stop. So yeah, modeled after that. Real simple building, but I really like it. I think it's really small, but I think it fits well here. I removed the guest information building to fit it in. Shh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I was not gonna get rid of Grams, because to me this is nostalgic, and every Conifer Slopes has had a Grams lemonade in it. And then the goofy sign was one of the first times I really dabbled with sign work, and that set off something that I actually eventually became pretty good at, so I wanted to keep it there. So, but anyway, yeah, Fisherman fisherman's, just this quaint little home that serves some delicious fish and chips. So I think it's pretty fun. And I think that is the entirety of of Contributor Row. Little Blue's Gifts is still here intact. It's a lovely building. Like I said, an homage to Ryan CTRS Industries. And we started to throw some clutter around as well, some workshop items that I've used in previous projects. A park map area here. We have Ryan's awesome popcorn stuff from No Name Landia. We've added all of that right by his store. Threw in some of the brands Pucker Up and TFBs and Cotton Candies, and these are some fishermen's carts here. Anywhere where there was room, we threw in some carts to try and clutter things up and make things look just a little bit more lived in. The last thing to do in this episode now is to dress up our exterior and our backstage and kind of get the parking lot figured out ish. It's not going to be real good, but it's going to look good enough because that is my jam. So let's take a look at the back of house and all the technical work of Conifer Slopes. So probably starting with this zoomed out view would make the most sense for us. You could see the original parking lot was this big. I went ahead and I extended it by quite a bit. Theoretically, it would extend way past the borders of the map, but I'm not about to pull a No Name Landia and go into scenario mode and extend the map borders and all that for this project. That's beyond what's necessary at this point when the main goal was to finish the project. So you can see our road that we put in last time goes all the way around, and again, theoretically, this road wouldn't continue onto like a real road that would lead up to a highway and things like that. The idea being that you would come through here and start parking, and there's probably numerous ways. Again, we are just sort of hand waving a lot of that just for the purpose of getting it done. Parking lot, though, I figured with all this just made it feel really, really good. I wanted to fill in the parking lot between the entrance and where the backstage area actually starts. Now, we're not going to take a ton of time looking at this because most of this is simply just ripped straight from No Name Landia, because if it was already done to perfection in one place, I'm not above using it in another. So most of this backstage stuff was made by Wings and Strings, an amazing creator who helped us so much in No Name Landia, and some of it I think was also made by Mineral. But yeah, we just got a ton of backstage stuff and backstage parking, and it starts here with the little security booth here, and that brings you in. Oh, these were made by Ruble. So yeah, we have a lot of people helping out, a lot of people's stuff working for our backstage. Because I'm terrible at this, I don't know what it should be, so I just kind of threw things around wherever they would fit. And that's how it's going to be. We have this huge storage facility. It used to say No Name Storage. Now it says Conifer Storage because that's how I am. Yeah, we've got this huge building. Again, this is a Wings and Strings edition. Really, really cool stuff, though. And the road continues, and we come here. This is our Feywild area. This is the Morning Woods backstage, where we have a bunch of storage and things like that. And that blends in pretty well with what Nerd Chacho was able to do for us here. I added some yellow, like, don't pass lines for, like, to make this distinguish a bit more of a road. Yeah, there's really not a lot to say. I just want to show it to you to show you that there is a backstage-ish area. The whole park is fenced. This whole thing, there is fencing around the whole park now, and I think that helps ground it into reality. Yeah, we've also I've ripped the No Name Landia train station or train depot, where you would do maintenance on the train and where the trains would be parked when they weren't in use and things like that. It's probably not accurate to scale, but the idea is there, and the train tracks all lead in. These are probably terrible switch tracks and wouldn't make any sense at all. But again, just them being there helps solidify this as a real park. And I actually kind of like what this does with Bandit now. I think that's kind of a cool little look here. You would zoom right by and actually over some of the backstage buildings, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, you can see now how everything kind of fits in. I decked all this out. Maybe this is where a lot of the plumbing and stuff are held for this giant water ride. Probably doesn't make logical sense, but again, these rocks just look dumb, so I needed it to feel like this was here intentionally, and this was part of a facade to hide some backstage building. Yeah, that's the park, y'all. That is Conifer Slopes in a nutshell. I think we're done. I am in the current process of making sure that the sounds all work. All the areas have music and things that are synced work most of the time. There is an issue. Sometimes speakers end up resetting themselves or triggered sounds aren't triggering. I'm assuming it's because of how huge the file is. I've named every shop and every building, like the rides are actually their real names. Flying Swings is named Flying Swings. Excel is named Excel. Oh, there is one more thing I want to share with you. That is this sign. We're going to call this the Shamble Scramble. I like it. It was going to be Shambles Scramble, but the S wouldn't fit on Shambles. So we made it Shamble Scramble, and it's sponsored by Chris the Nerd 8. So big shout to to Chris the Nerd for the suggestion of Shamble Scramble. But yeah, I've named every shop, every stall. Oh, I know where we can go. We can look in the Big Fat Hen. That was one of the newer ones. So if I look in the Big Fat Hen, we will see that the building is actually named the Big Fat Hen and the Big Fat Hen 2. So if you were to actually turn this on with all that stuff, you would know what's going on in the park. Friends, this is it. We did the thing. I can't believe that 3 months ago, 3-ish months ago, I started this back up, and in 3 months, with the help of many friends, we were able to get Conifer Slopes in its current completed state. There's going to be one more video. It's going to be a tribute video. It's going to be a cinematic video. It's going to have POVs. I can't guarantee that the POV quality is going to be super spectacular because this park is very big and very crowded. But we are going to run POVs of coasters and any tracked ride, including the train, and we'll do some walkthroughs, kind of like what we did for Brazos Square. I'm very excited to make that and get that put together. It's going to take some time, but yeah, so what's next? Oh no. I have an adventure coaster that needs finishing. We got a couple months before Planet Coaster 2 comes out. Who knows what we're going to do? But I'm just excited to say that I've completed Conifer Slopes for the first time in forever. I finished a park. I hope you're excited about it as well. I hope it means something to you as well, especially if you've been along for the journey this entire time. I mean, this has been a long time coming, so. Or even if you're new and you've been binging, somebody commented, said they've been binging the series, and they're glad they didn't have to wait multiple years for episodes. Boy, oh howdy, how about that, huh? Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I still want to play Planet Coaster. Just got to figure out what I'm going to do next. Can't be anything huge, so. We're going to leave that here for today. So with all that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever. And I will catch all of you for the final episode of Conifer Slopes next time. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.